Oh, yes, there is.
Well, you guys just closed on your triplex today. Congratulations. So how are you guys feeling about that right now?
Good.
A lot better than yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard yesterday was a little bit of a trying day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our stories.
Yeah.
You know what? But as I said to him, I go, you know what? If you don't have a story to tell about your clothes, you know what? That's what makes it exciting, and you work through it, and you know what? Tomorrow's another day. So
Yeah, you got to learn something every day, right?
Every
So
day.
You would hope so. I know I do. Yeah, I know I do. Life is exciting. And if you don't learn, you don't grow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very, very true. So just kicking this off, first and foremost, and for those that are watching and chiming in, thanks so much for joining. So we are with the CC Realty Show, and I believe, and I'm going to get Ryan to keep me correct on this, but I think we're 11th or 12th episode now. And it's really about sharing information. So for those that may or may not know, Cindy's my partner. And Cindy's probably one of those brightest women. I praise her. Why? Because I like to work with best practice. And we're all strong at something. And Cindy's one of the strongest in this industry. She's stronger than I am. I go to hers many times. But so it's just a blessing to do what we're doing and having the show. So for those that are watching, and you're welcome to invite people in, we have some special guests today. So we have, these are dear clients of ours, Pattie and Ian Atherton. And they've been with us for a while, and I'm not going to say much more. I'm going to pass this over. Cindy's going to have some questions, and we're going to kind of share with you just, how you go about accomplishing what they've just succeeded at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I mean, Ian and Pattie, let's talk about your journey to get to this point that you decided to have a second income property. Like what was your thought process? Like, you lived in Burlington for several years, you've been living there, a long time. Like, what made you just turn the dial up for you to say, okay, this is it, we're buying the second property, it's going to be investment property?
Well, we were, I was brought up in the typical buy a house, pay it off, put away money in RSPs, and eventually you'll have enough to retire and all that good stuff. And you get hit in the market 3 times, and then you keep trudging through, and you get older and wiser, and you're like, you have friends that have investment properties and they're renting out their basements. And I'm thinking, I don't want to rent my basement out. I like my house. It's my house. I don't want to share it. And then you start, watching them succeed. And then you're like, well, maybe you should look at this and get more information and get more comfortable with it. And a few years back, some family members got involved in real estate. So we started paying a bit more attention, and you're only as strong as the people you surround yourself with. And the people around us were very traditional, buy your house, pay for it, don't have a mortgage and all that stuff. And that's what we were aspiring to, is getting rid of the mortgage. And then the more we thought about it, and the harder I'm working to keep making more money year over year, I'm like, I should have my money working for me and doing more for us. So yeah, we sought out more information and got involved with people in the business like yourselves, and built our own confidence up to the point where we were ready to pull the trigger. But when we met you ages ago, it was kind of like, I don't know, this guy on the fence, is he not on the fence? Is he interested, not interested? Because I hadn't turned the switch on at that point.
No.
I knew I should be doing it, but I didn't have the confidence in myself and in our situation to really jump in with both feet and make it work. And Pattie was like, she's already in the deep end swimming around.
I'm just
How unlike Pattie to do that?
I'm an anchor pulling her back going, whoa, just relax about this, right?
Well, because I know the numbers, and it's all fine and dandy to pay off your mortgage, but there's equity there. And we joined Keyspire a couple of years ago, so we're both very familiar with how money works and how you do this, but we just hadn't taken the plunge. I think your biggest thing was you didn't want to deal with renters, and you needed that confidence. So once we finally said, fine, let's sit down with them. And we sat down with you and Michelle. And I think sitting down, you kind of gave us that confidence that you're both investors. It was enough of that hearsay of let's try and do it. And you guys were like open and honest. It's like, we'll help you. We'll help you with the renters. We'll help you with this, help you with that. You showed us the properties right online. So we were right. You kind of together with everything. I think you flipped his switch. Mine was already, you know, I'm just like, how can we get it? So this is great. You guys convinced him. How easy, well, easy is, you know, it's not really easy, but how it's doable.
It's not that easy.
No.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other parts that have to
Yes.
play before you're able to do what you got to do, right?
For sure. So I think it was convincing. We already knew we had the down payment available in our existing mortgage. So we already knew we were fine with going into debt to get another property, knowing that the rental income will pay for the mortgage. That we already had that. And so he wasn't worried about that. You were just worried about renters, and you guys convinced him with that. And then COVID hit. So then we didn't talk to you for 2 months.
Yeah. Kind of threw everybody off the course a little bit. Like, what do we do? Do we sit back and wait? Oh my God, we get the business going again, so you just get into we do what we got to do based on where we are, and I thank you because I mean, it's not nobody knew this is the whole globe kind of going through this. So Pattie, I mean, I just want to I can't thank you enough for having the trust in us, because even when you in the first month, wait a second, I think we're just going to stay safe. Well, nobody really knows. Mm-hmm. And then it was about a few weeks later, we check in, but then it wasn't long and you connected with us and we're ready. And, for you to have that trust and faith, we just want to thank you.
That's amazing.
That's a lot, right? It's a partnership that works. But that's a lot. So
Well,
we
point,
you were adjusting, but still, thank you.
And you guys, it's a relationship thing. It's how you work together. And there's a lot of real estate people out that are transactional driven. It's not about necessarily the investment focus. It's about, okay, we're going to get your house. Well, and it's just that. But that's not what you guys are about. You guys are about a whole different philosophy and finding the right people that have the same philosophy as we are that can help us achieve what we're trying to achieve. That makes all the difference in the world. And you guys just made it easy.
A lot of hand holding, thank goodness. And patience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at one point I brought in a really good friend of mine and client, Alex.
Yes.
Introduced him to you because originally, before you decided to buy a triplex, you were looking at buying a house and renovating and then having the duplex status. That's how we all started this process. Yeah. And I think when you met Alex, what was your deciding factor after meeting with him to realize that maybe this is not the path we want to go down? Because we did discuss it. You were sitting on the fence. So what was really Alex telling you that really resonated with you with just getting something that's done? Well,
I think in the beginning, Ian and I had decided automatically, we said, there's a couple of things we're not going to waver on. We want it legal. We really want separate hydros, and we want an upscale place. We don't want to be slumlords. So
we want the win-win. We want pride in our place. We want the tenants to enjoy the space. We don't want to just be banging a nail, put a screw through that, it's fixed, go away. It's like, no, you want them to have as much pride and respect in the home they're living in as we do in owning it. And it has to be a mutual win-win in order to do that. And if you're going to do that, it has to be a nice place and you have to attract the right people.
So Alex, what he explained is he has a bit more time than we did because we both work full time. So he had the ability to buy a property that needed renovating bottom up. Really, he had that flexibility. Whereas with this being our first, we really didn't have that. But we we knew we still wanted it legal, separate hydro, and do everything the right way. So that's when we kind of flipped it, our switch, and said, okay, let's keep looking for a really nice bungalow and one that's done on the first level, and then we just renovate the basement. So the conversation with Alex really just led us in the right direction. It kind of just a lot of that hand holding and
reaffirmed
yeah,
what we already knew and gave us more experience because we benefit from his experience. And
Good
as you're aware, the biggest challenge we were having was finding the houses that we could do it with, because they're either
That was the big challenge.
already done up with lipstick but not quality, and you got to tear it out. You're overpaying for
Oh,
it.
we don't know one of those, do we?
Everybody has their stories.
Oh man.
Indy kept me abreast, and I'd love for you guys to share a little bit of, because when we would normally tell people, guys, it's not what you know that hurts, it's what you don't know that's going to hurt you.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you don't know how to peel an onion back, which means even when you get into that home and what you're looking for, and when we're working with investor clients, we want clients long-term, short-term. So, we do the right thing, we take care of you, and we kind of, and why do we have our fiduciary duty? This is a legal-based industry. So, my why for doing it is, like, I came from a different kind of world, but when you just see it, it's like, these are big decisions for people, folks. But if you don't mind maybe expanding a little bit on
Wentworth.
Almost, it was great.
Am I allowed to say that?
Wentworth? Oh my God.
So you get to see all the listings, and Pattie and Cindy were working away, and I'm at work, and Pattie's, like I say, she's running the marathon
Every morning.
And then I'm getting the filtered version of what they've looked at. It's like, oh, this is nice. Look at all these pictures. Oh, it looks really good. And we're looking at the area, and it's like going, oh, okay, no worries. So anyways, Pattie ends up putting an offer in. I haven't even seen the place yet, other than the pictures. And it's like, that's trust for you.
Made up for it.
So, and it looked really good until you start delving into it. And when you go in, we had the offer and we had all the conditions on it. We were the first time I saw it was when we went out with the home inspector. And I walk in, I start walking around looking at the stuff, and I'm not a home inspector, but I'm handy enough to, do a lot of stuff, and I can see stuff that's not right, and he's looking at stuff.
What did he gauge it on? If he takes around, on average, takes about 100, 125 pictures, he sent us in his home inspection over 300 pictures.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and this is what was really interesting about that property, that it was legal. The other agent was like, it's legal, we've got paperwork, we've got the city paperwork, everything's done. And we felt a little bit of comfort in that, knowing that. But again, like when the home inspectors permits, the whole thing, it was all legit.
On paper and in the photos, everything looked spectacular until you walk in, and then you're like going, how the heck did this pass? Like there's.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really kind of should scare anybody getting into this, that just because it's deemed legal, but after what the home inspector said to everything, like we ran, like it was basically one of those, okay, we're out, we're going, time to move on to the next. Because that's, it's pretty scary when you're thinking something has passed by the city and you find out that it's, like, how it even passes beyond me. Like that one room off to the side was weird. I don't know what that was. Yeah. You couldn't access it from the house. You had to go outside the house to go into the basement. Like it's just like, what was that? That was
like, I can't believe it. Like I'm not a house inspector, but I can do renovations. I know how to do plumbing. I know how to do the stuff. And every room I walked into, I'm like going, well, that's not right. That's not right. Clearly that wasn't done by someone that should have been doing it. It's like, and everything I'm saying, the home inspector, great guy. And again, it's surrounding yourself with the right people, because if you don't have that ability, you have to have the right people to point it out to you. But it was like, this is, this is kind of scary, because on paper, everything was approved.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
That was the first time we had met Brian. And again, referral from Cindy for the home inspector. So, we keep hearing this concept of grow your team, get your team together, and, your team will help you, and your home inspector is your team. And after that, after Wentworth, Brian was like, He goes, just if you have any questions about any property, he goes, snap a picture or text me anytime, and
Yeah, he's
we
a great
could
guy.
have-
Actually, it's a
Yeah.
referral from Michelle, to be honest with you. Michelle
Okay.
is aligned with him,
I-
and she gave me his name and number. And we had actually a Zoom meeting with him, a Zoom chat not that long ago.
Okay.
Yep.
And he was, I resonated with him because he was just very honest, straightforward,
Straight shooter.
like up and up
Yeah.
guy. You couldn't get a better home inspector. He was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And it's a little funny. I mean, we all like Patty. I'm a normal person every day. And the only and what do they say about success? Success leaves clues. So you start to listen and watch. And what did you guys do? You joined Keyspire. You learned. You trusted. You started. We did the same thing. And Cindy, same thing. I mean, Cindy grew up in this environment, kind of knowing what it is. And now I like to work with people that know their style, because I've always been in an industry in what we call I sell brains. What do you mean brains? You got to not only got to go in there and do it, we got to make sure that you are performing and growing as a company. So you don't want to go away from how you think and your morals and your values, and coming in and then, been in real estate for a few years, but I was a little bit taken back, and I'm like, I can't change who we are. We have to run, like, this is how we work. So as a full service and having the ability, you start to get to know. So Cindy and I have been together for a few years now. And that's why I said she's one of the best in the industry. She knows her stuff. It's all about protecting you, because God forbid, money, guess what? When you put money in the equation, it's a business, and it's a big business.
Yeah.
So the relationship you have with your realtor, make sure that you just understand it's a business and it's money. So we just interview, because a full service team, to me, exactly. We have to know who we can bring in, but we have to know we trust them.
Yeah.
So, and it just so happened that we have an agent that was with us, and with COVID and everything, it's adjusted. You have to homeschool your kids, so you're kind of transitioning back. But it was a wonderful person, and they had worked, and there's a few inspectors that we have, but it just so happened that we interviewed him, and I loved his story. I loved what he shared. And why did he in the industry? Why did he start running it full time? Because there's shoddy work that gets done, and that wasn't the way he understood the value behind it. And so then it's like awesome. So we know, yes, there's fees associated, but he's thorough and understands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We learned a lot from him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he ended up doing your home inspection on the property that you own now.
Absolutely.
We did not have 300 pictures.
He'll do the next one for me too.
Yeah. He was like pretty good. And I mean, again, building that relationship with him, because I think you and I, like when we all met the first time when we met in the office, the relationship wasn't quite there, because you meet someone for the first time. Do you really, get to know them? But I think the first few times we went out, like we really hit it off, and
oh yeah, for sure.
Working with you guys was amazing. Like you guys, you're amazing. Like, and you educated yourselves too. And I think that's really important. And I tell a lot of my clients, like, I'm here to help educate you. I want to educate you, but going forward, especially when you're buying an investment property, do your due diligence. Like, I can only help you so far. Like, I'm here to help you all the way. And if you need more, or do I need to line you with other people? Because obviously I'm not a mortgage broker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I try and help as much as possible, but sometimes you need to get yourself aligned with different people in order for everything to come to fruition. Like you guys, you guys were great. Like Pattie, you had your numbers down pat, girl.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, first thing we did was we got pre-approval. So we knew we could buy one property, or ideally it was 2 properties for X amount of dollars. We knew that ahead. So our game plan was to just buy one. And, you start averaging it out, and it's like, okay, well, I probably need about 100 to 125,000 to renovate the basement, assuming the main level is basically automatically tenant or spend maybe 10,000. And so you start doing the math, and literally I could walk in and I could do the math. I mean, and I would just confirm. It's like, okay, Cindy, what do you think this would rent for? I know a number in my head I need to go, because in the end, your hydro, your taxes and stuff, it's not going to vary all that much. So really it's the how much the property is, how much you need to put into it.
What area is it in?
the area will make a big difference. You know, that'll make a difference on a monthly area, about 400, easily $400 a month, you know, for a 2 or 3 bedroom. And it's like, you know, you start to think, oh, I want to be in this area, but it's like, okay, well, you just added $100,000 to your house for $400. You got to do the math to see, is that worth it?
Take the emotion out of it, right? Because
Yes.
it's a business. At the end of the day, it's not the house you're living in. It's
Yeah.
the house you're using to, you know, run a business with.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has to work.
Yeah. And Cindy was so nice. She would show us any properties. I would text her on my lunch hour. And there was one part of Hamilton I never have to see again.
You wanted to see it, but here's the thing, and that's why I kind of showed you that property, because it's like, I need you guys to understand, it's not just about the house value, and it's like the area. And once we went there, you were like, I'm out, never take me here ever again.
I didn't have to see the basement. I sent him down.
I was like, yeah, you go down. It's like, okay, but
Yeah.
you know, you don't need to see this in the first place, but she needed
Yeah,
to see
but
it.
if I had told you, no, we're not going to go see that one, you always would have had it in your brain. Did I miss out? You know,
Right, we had to
maybe
fix
that
it. Like
would have been
I looked at where it was and I'm going, yeah, you don't want to be there.
But I never
Right.
had been down that area. So I'm like, well, how bad can it be? Oh my gosh.
Well, you know.
Well, I'll let you know.
Oh my God, Cindy, I'm so sorry. I never have to go to that area again.
You know,
Nothing phases me anymore after 13 years of doing this. I've been in places that you don't even want to know, my friend.
oh,
Someone shooting up in the back alley while you're trying to show a house. It's a lot of fun, let me tell you.
Oh my God.
It still amazes me that you're in such a poor area, but the money in cars that's parked in the driveways of these shanties is unbelievable. It's like,
I know.
okay, where do you get your income from? Well, I'm not gonna ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about my car getting stolen. I was worried about Cindy's car.
It's
yeah, she's a nice car. So,
Yeah, I was. Anyway, that was funny. So you know what? I still to this day, I'm like, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, you know,
yeah.
I have a sister-in-law who's a justice of the peace. So I get sneak peek on, yeah, that one went to jail and that one she got the warrant for and that one. But you know what? I mean, it's unfortunately unfortunate, like location.
Yeah,
Hamilton, like it's like a mini Toronto in my version. You can have some areas that are wonderful, but then you got some areas that no, there's transitional. And sometimes
Yeah.
across border, you're not too sure how it's going, but the reality of it is it's location.
yeah. And you can only buy into location if you can afford it. So like I said, we wanted it in upscale, attract young professionals. So that automatically limited to where or how much we could buy. And then we end up buying a triplex because
yeah, that was just part of the unpredictability that I deal with all the time. The
Yeah,
whole
Pattie
business
calls
model
me on
is,
the
we're
phone.
going to do 1 or 2 duplexes, we'll
Yeah.
convert them, we'll make them
Yeah.
legal, we'll grow the portfolio, and we're spending this much money. And then, bam, like Cindy and I were taken aback. She said, what? When did you start looking at that?
Well, because we had dinner that night. Remember, we had that dinner. We decided to raise the budget. We decided
I
that,
literally, yes.
like literally the day before, and we're like, okay, we'll change the budget. I think we need to go something totally renovated.
Yeah.
Not do I get an email like at lunch, 11 o'clock, 11:30. I want to see this property. I'm like, okay. I type it in. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, how did we go from here to here? Like, I was like, I go, Pattie, I go, what did I
I
text
took my
you?
numbers.
What did I
I'm
text
like,
you? I go, are you
oh, yeah.
serious? I go, are you crazy? Like, I was just like, and then I'm like, yeah, let's go see it. And lo and behold,
Oh my gosh. And that's just it. And thank goodness we knew, you know, it was that decision whether we buy 2 properties or we bought 1. And when you work, and I could do the numbers in my head. So when you think about how much money you're going to put into 2 spaces, like 1 to put into a duplex, and then all of a sudden when you buy X amount of dollars and divide it by 3, I went, my goodness, we're going to spend less on this triplex than to buy 2 duplexes. And I'm like, I worked at the numbers and I'm like, oh my God, Cindy, I'm like, can we get in? And, like, and then I had to go home because he was a little pale.
I had the same reaction Cindy had.
yeah, it was like, I was just like, what? Especially when I went on my board and I looked at it, I thought maybe, you know, a certain price range, because that we were talking going up, but I didn't realize you meant going up kind of thing. Like, I was like, okay, but it's really
That's
funny
a
because
completely different business model than we were talking about, but it works. So
yeah, it was totally different. But I mean, it's really funny too. And remember, like Ian and Patty, when we were going on, and I kept telling you guys, when something's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to feel it. You're just going to know this is it.
Yeah.
Because when we end up putting an offer in that property, there's actually
Yeah.
another offer on it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, you did. Remember, it fell apart due to
Oh,
financing.
the other one that fell
yeah,
apart.
that
Sorry.
fell apart.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and it was just like so
Oh.
weird because when I called the agent and I said, listen, I'm going to put it up, she's like, oh my God, the other
Yeah.
offer just fell apart. It was literally
Yeah. That's right.
that morning that the deal fell apart on the other one when we
That's
came
right.
in.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think it must have just been listed because I check. I have my little routine. I get up at like 6:30, and then look at all my little filter and all the MLS listings. And then, because I literally just talked to Cindy the night before and I had my budget and I said, let's just see if there's anything if I just take out the top level. And
you
then,
mean unlimited? Because that's pretty much what you did.
apparently, yeah.
Yeah, Ian, isn't it? Because oh my
All
God, I
of
was
our
in
money.
shock.
Okay, let's never mind the budget. Just blow it out.
and then it just popped up and I went, okay. And then I started looking at it and I'm like, hang on, you guys got emotion out of it.
As Patty's jumping up and down, calling me, going, I just see it now. No emotion, Patty. No
Don't
emotion.
tell my husband. Let's just go look.
That's pretty much what she said. She goes, don't tell Ian. I'll talk to him when he gets home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it. I just so love this.
It was fun.
Yeah. But you know what? Again, it was exactly what you guys wanted. It was every level was done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean,
and it was done well. And obviously the previous owner we're buying it from, great guy.
Nice
great
guy.
relationship with
Well, you
him.
just closed today, so he's not you're the
All
new
been
owners.
fixed, right?
Congrats. Well,
So the previous owner is there.
Yeah. Dave, I'm going to mention his name, Dave. And I got to tell you, I think it was such a pleasure. And I'm sure you could also appreciate how easy the transaction was when you're working with someone.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
he was amazing.
yeah.
He was, and same with the realtor, Jennifer. I don't
Yes.
think I've had such a smooth transaction in a while. There's always issues. I mean, we had a couple yesterday, but they weren't like major issues that we couldn't get resolved, that the deal couldn't close. But I mean, when you're working with a seller, who's very accommodating, it really makes the process go so much smoother.
Well, and everybody wants a good outcome. So we're all pulling together to the same end result, right? So it's good.
Yeah.
He told Ian he's put an offer into another property. So in the back of my head, oh, by the way, I'm like going, well, if it ever comes up for sale.
That's true. And I think Ian almost had a heart attack when you said that.
Yeah. So is it a smaller one?
Yeah, because I mean,
please, go ahead, Cindy. Sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead, Michelle.
Well, it kind of just sort of brings me, as you mentioned, like Cindy's an investor. Cindy's grew up with understanding this just with her dad and what she shared with me and so on. I was a different path and got into this because I basically watched a dear friend of mine that I trust and just turn his entire life around. He went from almost going bankrupt to 2 years in the industry and did an investment property that went sideways and almost burnt down. And he could have been one of those people, it doesn't work, but he didn't quit. And then he kept going and
Never give up.
Never give up. In the real estate, what we find amazing is not a lot of realtors buy. Like, yeah, they do, but they don't. There's a very large percentage of realtors in the industry, and they don't stay. They're gone in 2 years. 87% are gone in 2 years. And there's a lot of lack of awareness because when you're getting in the industry, you're running a business, and they don't maybe all understand all the different pieces. It's not just about going out and you're ready to buy a house. And that's what I found amazing, kind of in the space.
Yeah,
you learn and you grow and so on. So when Roy just started acquiring properties and purchasing and scared on the first one and then the next one scared, third one. But it's amazing because you can only do one thing at a time. And that's what, even when I met Cindy and we started to kind of get to know each other and then started working together, she would be the same. Like Michelle, they just think of it like a business. We do this. Now we had already bought an investment property and we're on to do 2 more, but it's, money makes money. And like any investment, you have to do your homework. You have to do your due diligence, But there are, and not to say that we don't kind of look at the stocks and the mutuals, but the real estate's the only industry you can invest in that you don't lose the bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
People have made their net wealth, and it's just something that, so to educate and to help and advise, absolutely we want to do that. Because a lot of times, some people might have 2 or 3, some people may have 5, but they've got a trusted team they go to that knows this. They know, a realtor that understands investing.
Oh, for sure.
And the
We
cost
couldn't
of
do it
borrowing right
honest-
now is so
We
low.
couldn't do it without you guys.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I like, and you're so open-minded, but I mean, automatically I felt like every time we walked into the house, whether it had carpet on the walls or mirrors on the ceiling, you were just waiting for us to say something, and then once we said something, you just kind of confirmed, just like, yeah, this isn't for you. But you were just so patiently waiting. It's like,
Well, because at the end of the day, it is your
eventually.
decision, right? I mean, I'm not buying the house. This is not my house I'm buying. It's the house that you're buying. So for me, to even put my 2.5 cents worth of what I'm going to save versus waiting, that's why I always wait for you to speak, because really at the end, it is your decision.
Yeah.
It's what you want. And there's a couple times where I'm like waiting. I'm like, how long is it going to take for them to,
Let me just lean against the carpet on the wall.
Yeah.
That's what
It's all coming off anyways, but that's a heck of a lot.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. There's a couple doozies we saw, that's for sure. And I mean, and there was a couple, there was one in particular that I remember as well. It just came on the market and we put an offer in and the agent was so upset. Remember, the agent was so upset because they wanted full asking.
We actually offered that before we bought the triplex. You kept reminding me.
We made him a fair offer on it.
And it was only one day on the market and the agent was like, we're not signing back unless you give us, like, take out the home inspection, take out this. And we're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And it's funny because we ended up getting the triplex and remember
we saw it, the triplex. And you kept telling me, you kept saying, Pattie, remember, you've actually already purchased another house.
I know.
And I'm like, but Cindy, you told me.
Details,
I have a home inspection and I have financing. And you said, keep looking, never stop looking.
No.
So, and I'm so glad that we did, but you were in my ear and you kept saying, just so you know, Pattie, don't forget, you already technically have an offer on another property.
But it was funny because prior to even us doing anything, we went to see Sherman, but the other offer, when she called me back and she was just being like so bad with how she came back to me that we were like, okay, you know what, don't bother signing back, like that's fine, because I ended up calling you that night telling you what they wanted and you're like, forget it, let it die. We didn't care.
Done.
And it was funny because what did I do? What did I call you 3 weeks later or not that long ago? And I said, it's still on the market.
I'm like, wow, but that's
still on the market.
And it really wasn't for us.
Sometimes say your first offer is your best offer.
I've heard that before, Cindy.
I still think it was a fair offer.
It was a totally fair. Actually, they ended up getting exactly what we offered, by the way.
So there you go. So we weren't far off.
But see, this is what I'm saying. Things are meant to be, because if she just dealt with the offer the way it should have been, and then we went through it, that's where you'd be. That's why things always happen for a reason. I'm a true believer in that, because if we did end up going firm on that property, you wouldn't have what you have now.
No.
And I mean, this house was done top to bottom. Like, I got to say, guys, whoever's watching out there, this house is beautiful. It's stunning. It's done to the nines. Like, you couldn't ask for more. It really is beautiful.
We're so happy.
We're heading there after this.
You got an appointment at what,
7:30.
7:30.
Interviewing someone at 7:30. That's what I said. I go, you know what we'd always say is like, well, this isn't like Wentworth. That we always compared everything to Wentworth, and I
raise the bar. Raise the bar, man.
I made it up for you, even though I did technically put an offer in a house that you didn't see. I totally made up for it.
No, but it still makes a good story.
It does.
Yeah, it does make a good story. It's a good story.
Don't let your wife buy a house without you seeing it first.
I can relate to that one. I think I did all the homework and came home to the hubby and said, well, what about this, this, this? Okay, good. But I already did all the homework. I just had to put it in front of them to make sure. And, we wouldn't do anything per se, but it's
But yeah, no, it just goes back to really having a good plan of what you're trying to do. Like we've done we've been involved with people, we've got spreadsheets set up. It's not just about real estate investing. We've got our whole investment strategy mapped out, and this is just one corner of it. So
yeah, 25-year plan.
It makes it easy when you're just plugging in puzzle pieces into the plan to say, no, that one doesn't fit, throw it away. This one is a better fit, put it in, and then move on to the next puzzle piece. So it's that in itself is what took us so long to really pull the trigger on it, because we hadn't done enough of the back end to get the plan properly laid out where we really understood what we were looking for.
We didn't know monthly how much we would need, because the end goal is for Ian to retire in 5 years. That's what we want. So we need to know exactly how we get there. So we start there and you work backwards. So when I said I knew this place was like taking the return for the two properties, it was like a 2-for-1. And it was like so hard to find one property. And it was like, if we were to renovate, it's going to be 6 to 9 months to get it up. And that's if we can tenant out one level. So you start to do the math and it's like, I'm never going to find a place. And then this one, you just remove the limit number and it just fell out of the air.
Yeah.
There is a lesson in that though. Like when you change your business plan midstream and you think you've got stuff laid out, like we had insurance laid out, we had stuff, I didn't think it was a problem, but everything was based on a duplex, not a triplex. Yeah. So when we went back to them and said, okay, we need to do that, suddenly all these options started evaporating. And it's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to be a problem. It wasn't a problem until suddenly the criteria changed, and then you got to work through it all. So
Fortunately, a triplex.
But to your point, everything works out in the end. So it all came together at the 11th hour, and it's like, this is averted. It's all good.
Oh yeah, when Pattie texts me, we're having a problem, I'm like, what? And I'm looking at the time going, okay, 3:30 the day before closing, lawyers close at 5. Okay, and I'm like,
oh God, I wouldn't have anybody else work. No way. I'm sorry. And I'm like, I don't mean this to but I mean, there's a lot of gear shifting in the back end representing, and I've seen Cindy in action, and I'm like, honey, you're better at that than me. I'm so happy we're together.
Absolutely spectacular.
Because it doesn't matter if it's a lawyer, we're human beings here, but when we know the data, and as they say, documentation will be the conversation any day. So when you start seeing that, then and it doesn't matter because we're representing you, the extension of the brokerage to help you. So and you got to trust, and it's just a good thing.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I called the lawyer. I was prepared for a holdback. Let's go. Like I mean, I sent you the emails, I sent you the amendment, I sent you everything right away. Right when I saw that message, I was like, boom. And I even called your lawyer and I said, like, no, this is how it's supposed to be. It's written in black and white. I mean, there's a little bit of I think the confusion with regards to like the invoice that was there. Yeah, but I mean. But it was, and I mean, you have to be as a realtor ready to like jump on board to like take care of all these little issues that do come up because I mean, you're working full-time, guys. I've got the paperwork. I have everything in front of me. So it's very easy for me to just go boom, boom, boom. Here it is, right?
No, and you were. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I needed a final number to go to the bank. And it was funny because the lawyer's like, well, write us a check for the higher amount and we'll just we'll write you a check for the difference. And I'm like, I don't really buy houses every day. I don't feel comfortable giving you more.
Right, and then it's all gone.
Don't get your zeros on the other end of it. And it's most of
it. So no, it was good. In the end, it all got worked out and
So on that, I'm just going to take kind of the next few minutes and we'll wrap up so you guys have time to get to your new investment. Awesome. And just the feeling alone when you start working with people and helping, it's such a good feeling, right? Because you're giving them a good environment and all of that.
For sure.
I guess my own, two questions. One, Pattie and Ian, I'd look forward to having you guys kind of long-term because the investment side and how we educate that part of our business is growing, and it's just such a wonderful thing to have this. And just like you said, it's a process and a whole end-to-end solution that have all these components that have to come together.
Yeah.
And that. But advice, I mean, you've got a phenomenal, you're in a 5-year plan, and presuming that, that might require future, if you will, but do you have any advice that you might offer to people that are watching that have one, or they're just starting to think about it?
Do you know what? This is going to sound funny, but we have a family. So, the kids, when you start taking that commitment to look for houses, anticipate you could be looking for a house every single night and have a plan. We had frozen dinners, or it was the $20 Swiss chalet meal. Yeah. But it's like, you got to take care of your family. And we had understanding kids. It's like, okay, mom and dad, I know you're out, but it's like, you feel guilty, but you have to have stuff prepared to be out at any point in time. So we had the lawyer, Cindy gave us a lawyer right away. You had the home inspector. So we started filling in the pieces, and we knew how much of a home we could buy and how much of a return that we needed. So there was no emotion. As much as I loved the property when we saw it, and Cindy will say, like, as much as I was excited for the numbers.
That's true.
It didn't matter that if it had a pretty door or a funky doorbell. It was like, if the numbers don't fit, you walk away. You have to. It was like, and then it was like, after we seen it, they accepted the offer. It wasn't until it passed home inspection. That's when I finally.
No, that's when you start getting.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my gosh.
It's starting to fit in that spot now. All the little things that need to come together are coming together.
So don't get emotional, and have certain aspects in place, like know what return you want, get your lawyer, know how much you can spend. And if you don't have a good realtor that is an investor, then call Cindy. Michelle, because you know what? Like Cindy would already know. We'd walk into a finished basement, and I knew ahead of time. I didn't even comment, at some point, on how pretty, or he's like, oh yeah, this is the countertop, and because I knew Ian was going to say, this is all coming out. Don't get attached.
Like I said, my biggest issue was just making sure I was comfortable in the process.
Yeah.
Thank you. So just Ian and Pattie, thank you so much, because we've connected first. I'd mentioned in the beginning, we work as a team. I've got Cindy as a partner. We run a little bit autonomy, if you will, from Kitchener. We are in a few cities, but just thank you. We just look forward to lots, good things that we can help you guys out in the future. But more relevantly, today's a really, really monumental, important day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing day.
Congrats.
Yeah. We'll get together, Ian and Pattie. Give me a call.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, give me a call.
Everyone's speed dial.
Have a couple drinks again.
You know what? Life's short. And
it is.
True. I think if we got to act, we got to act. So thank you for the trust, but with the due diligence in the process.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks, people.
Perfect.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys. Good luck on your meeting today.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.